Current drought monitor situation look like? Well, 3 months have gone by since we've planted, and this is how things have changed. I'd rather have you focus on the map that's on the right than the one that's on the left. You see, the map that's on the right shows you class change of drought. And in parts of western Kansas and the panhandles of Oklahoma and Texas, they got a whole bunch of rain. What happened to the drought? It migrated east. And thankfully didn't migrate too far to the north. Because really, as it migrated east, it's putting drought in some places that are not the most agriculturally productive regions when we talk about corn and soybean farmers. Now, I'm of course, feel the pain of the people that are in Missouri. And if you were in that little section there of kind of eastern South Dakota there, east of the the Missouri River, certainly it has been very, very dry and your precipitation has been quite sporadic recently. But other than that, the primary growing region for corn and soybeans across this country is drought-free at this point. And so when you start to hear that the markets are trading 178 bushel per acre crop on corn, this is one of the big reasons. We lacked the major stress this year, and we'll talk about it as we go throughout this talk. April 24th to July 31st, this map shows you precipitation as a percent of normal. And all that I want you to see here is, wherever you see the blues or the whites, that's where things are just fine. Wherever you start to see the getting over in those red colors, that's where we're dealing with some drought. And it's pretty interesting. There's like a hard border right there, Missouri, Iowa, where things are really bad in northern Missouri and not so bad at all in parts of Iowa. 2 weeks ago, I drove from St. Louis to Champaign to Quad Cities, all the way across Iowa to Omaha, in this room giving a talk. And as I did that, I got to see every field along I-80 and I-74. I found one field that didn't look even. Everything else looked phenomenal. And that map that you see in the bottom right there, well, I put a circle inside of every county where the size of the circle will tell you how productive of a county it is in terms of corn production. The bigger the circle, the more corn it produces. And when you line up the maps, and then don't forget the map that's in the upper right-hand corner, that kind of, I don't know what color this is, right in here, the purple color maybe? That color that you see in there is where the soil can hold the most moisture in our country. But when you look at that, you see that much of the Corn Belt has, well, a pretty large garden spot in it this year. I have a statistical model, a crop stress model I ran. It said 178 yield on corn this year. Now, it's got a plus or minus 3 bushel error in it, but it at least matches what the markets are currently trading right now. And that's what we watch every year. Are there pockets of stress? Absolutely, there are pockets of stress. This is northern Missouri. Now, I love ag Twitter. I love to watch you guys bicker and fight and go back and forth, and you guys are fantastic. It's almost as bad as weather Twitter, okay? But this was from Maryville, Missouri, so this is northwestern Missouri. Aaron Dinsdale took these pictures. Now, nobody ever goes out and takes pictures of their best corn, right? Like, who would do that? You want to show all the worst stuff you've got so that maybe other people see and go, man, Missouri's a much worse case than we thought. Hopefully we get some movement in the markets. But these pictures kind of don't lie. You can see the crack in the field on the right. You can see the health of the crop there in the other two pictures. This was interesting. This was here in Nebraska. Rod, you might know Rod? Just curiosity here. This particular picture, he was concerned about how quickly the season progressed. We'll talk about that in a minute. And what that might do to ear weight, kernel size. He very quickly got to dent, and he was posting some pictures about that. I really like following that guy. And then back in Indiana, because of the heat and dryness during pollination that we had there, we're starting to see a lot of corn that looks something like this. But again, people only show you their worst pictures. I love this one from southern Michigan. Like, the person goes out and takes this picture, and that makes you think all of Michigan looks like that. That part of that field never produces, right? You know that. And she just went out there and took a picture of the worst part of her field, so at least Twitter, universe could see it and maybe do something for them in the markets.